When was the last time your hair was short enough to fit under your hat? JMU days?
Yeah, it would have been. So I think I grew it out, right after COVID. It was like while we were in COVID, I grew it out, and I think it grew out kind of long. And I'm like, all right, we need a haircut, and I cut it. And then after that haircut, I was like, you know what? Let me try this long hair thing again.
It suits you.
Yeah, and it's well now I can't cut it. Like it's just not allowed. I actually had. So last year, it was around October, the people at Ping reached out to my agent and asked, hey, do you, would Neal be interested in the commercial? Like, we want Neal in the commercial. And I'm like, great, like, we'll do it. And they said, but if he cuts his hair.
You had to keep the hair.
I had to keep the hair.
You and Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Two Pittsburgh pros known for their hair.
Well, welcome back to For the One with the 10 Memorial. So excited to be here with you today. If you're just catching us, this is episode 2, where we talk to leaders all throughout their leadership journey with us. And we're incredibly excited today to be joined by professional golfer, Neal Shipley.
Thanks.
Welcome, Neal.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Neal, thrilled to have you here, man. This is awesome.
So today we want to talk to you all things Neal, but not just Neal the golfer, Neal the person. And we're so intrigued by you getting to do something that you love while the world is watching.
It's certainly a privilege to be, now on the PGA Tour and to, make a living by playing golf.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible, and it's been such a cool journey. Chuck's probably seen me at St. Clair when I was a real young kid and remembers me maybe, waddling around and hitting a lot of golf balls on the range. And so it's crazy how far we've come.
So great.
It's
Pittsburgh
awesome.
native.
Pittsburgh native indeed, and Pittsburgh proud. Neal, before we even get started, just want to tell you how proud we are of you. And golf, yes, of course, all of Pittsburgh's proud of you for what you've accomplished in the last few years, but we've gotten to know you on a personal basis. And you're right, I do. In fact, I was thinking a couple nights ago of the first interaction I had with you. You probably don't remember it, but I do. I was in the golf shop at St. Clair Country Club, and you had come in. I was talking to one of the pros, and one of the pros said, "Oh, hey Neal, how'd it go today?" And it was a nasty day, kind of like the day we're having today. And you had played by yourself, and you said, "I had an amazing." You must have been 12 or 13 at the time, and you said, "I had an amazing day. I shot under par today for the first time." And I'm looking over. I'm thinking, who is this kid? And then I thought, this just being transparent, I'm like, I don't believe him that he just shot under par by himself. and then, I've never forgotten that moment, because now I've got to watch your journey since then. And number one, I know you were telling the truth.
Yep.
And I know there's been a lot of hard work in between to get to where you are, because there's a lot of good junior golfers in Western PA. We're honored to be able to see some of them up close and personal through our junior event,
yes,
through the 10. But why don't you just give us a little bit of your background? Yes, the world has gotten to know Neal Shipley now. We want to unpack a little bit more about Neal Shipley outside of golf as well. But tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Tell us about Western PA and maybe through your college years.
Yeah, I born and raised here. I grew up in Mount Lebanon. Went to Mount Lebanon Public School through 8th grade, and I think then I decided to go to Central Catholic. And I obviously growing up in Mount Lebanon with my mom and dad. I have a older sister and a younger brother. My older sister was always probably like an academic role model for me. She, I think, has gotten like maybe 1 B in her entire life, and it didn't happen until she took like organic chemistry in college for fun.
Wow.
So she's a super nerd. And then my brother's definitely always kind of like the life of the party for us three, for the whole family. He's at Clemson now and doing some great things. And yeah, I grew up with a great family. My mom was kind of the breadwinner when I was younger too, which I think was pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. And my dad as well, had his own company, small business, and grew that. Did some developments. Did the Lake McLeod development up north of town.
Sure.
And after they finished up that development, he went back, worked at Huntington Bank, and then has since left then and built another small business. So I think it's really cool to see both my mom and dad be successful leaders in the Pittsburgh region. My dad with his small businesses and smaller ventures, and my mom Susie with her role at Huntington Bank now as the regional president. It's been, I think, awesome to have those two role models growing up. I'm moving on from that. I think went to Central. I spent 4 years there, lettered in golf. Ended up, I wasn't the best junior golfer in the world, but I feel very fortunate that Coach Forbes at James Madison kind of took a bit of a chance on me. They're by far the highest rated school to offer me a scholarship, and I decided I think that's this place I want to be. And I had a great 3 years there. Graduated early and went to Ohio State and did some grad school, played some good golf, and kind of the rest is history, I guess.
Wow.
The rest is certainly history. However, you're still writing history, which we're going to get into a little bit of that too. Just before we get into some planned topics that we had, you said you weren't the best junior golfer, and you never lacked confidence. It was never cocky, at least from what I saw, and you weren't the number one player on your high school team maybe until your senior year. Is that right?
I don't even know. Even my senior year, Jimmy Myers was a teammate of mine, and he ended up going to Penn State, and he was he was better than me, like for all those years, and even just in the region too. We had another kid like Brady Pavarnik. I grew up with playing. He kicked me around a bunch. Palmer Jackson certainly was probably the best junior, and still one of the best players from the area. And you had a guy like Mark Getz, who's a little bit older. Like I was maybe even just in my recruiting class, like the third or fourth guy out of Western PA. Like, and that's maybe being generous. There's a couple other guys, you could probably put their name in the hat there too. And it's, so definitely, I think that was, I think though, like not being the number one recruit from the area, I think it helped me and kind of gave me a bit of an edge. And, I always knew that to beat those guys, I had to work really hard, and so I think it helped me, kept me motivated. When you're not on top of the mountain, you're always working towards getting there. So that was, I think, always at a young age trying to work towards starting to beat Jimmy. When we played all the time, or when I got to play against Palmer, trying to beat him. Like those were the dudes with the target on their back.
That's awesome. I think there's a lot of junior golfers even today, right, that haven't quite peaked yet, right? And there can be a lot of pressure around junior golf. Everybody's comparing themselves to each other, and this person's going to this school, this person's going to that school. You have certainly epitomized peaking at the right time, and that hard work has certainly paid off.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. Like a guy like part of the Korn Ferry class this year, Chandler Blanchet. I probably just butchered his last name. Sorry,
another 10 guy. 10 guy.
Yeah, he got his PGA Tour card, and I think he went to a Division II school, and he didn't really catch his stride until more recently. Like he was on Latin America, kind of floated around a little bit, and it's all about I think talking to some people know Scotty and his coach. Like when Scotty was like 15, he always wanted to be the best, and his swing coach always like put in his head like, hey, we're not trying to be the best right now when you're 15. We're trying to be the best player possible when you're 25 and 35. And, it's a process getting better. It's not overnight. And I think just keeping that in mind that like you can get a lot better over 10 years, just because you aren't where you want to be right now. That end goal is still definitely within sight.
I love that. I think you talk a little bit about the process, right, that it takes to get, and maybe even the advantage of not being number one so that you had something to work towards. Walk us through what that process looked like for you. What were some of your daily habits? What does your schedule look like? What was the hard work in the process for Neal Shipley?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that just the hard work, I'd say like on a summer day, I was always practicing. I was always out there. Golf was always, I think, a passion of mine, so it was really easy. I wanted to practice. I wanted to be out there. I enjoyed playing golf with my friends. But I'd get to the golf course early, and I'd always have a couple things. I had a swing coach, my same swing coach now, Way Ishmael, and he instilled in me like there's a couple of drills that I'd do all the time. It's like a putting drill, pretty much like a cross drill for putting, and I probably wore out footpaths on the putting green at St. Clair, walking around some of those holes. And it's, I think just doing little things like that. It's like that, I'd always work on my short game a ton. I'd always work on, I'd hit a lot of golf balls, but when I'm hitting golf balls, I was trying to hit shots or working on some certain thing I'm doing in my swing. And just, I think I wasn't necessarily the most efficient, but I put in a volume of work that I don't think most people matched.
It's good.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. We, I think you certainly had the belief in yourself early on. That's apparent. You were probably, again, 12 years old when I met you for the first time in that pro shop. And then, fast forward, JMU, and then transferred to Ohio State and really caught your stride, right? And then there's the magical 18 months, would you say,
mm-hmm.
right? Walk us through that U.S. Amateur run where the whole city was behind you, rooting you on. Just I get goosebumps thinking about how cool that was watching.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it felt like.
Yeah, I think, it was incredible to be there. The USGA puts on great events, especially for the U.S. Amateur. They roll out the red carpet for us. And I still remember that match. I was down early in that match in the semifinals, and it got to 11, and I feel like I was able to kind of flip the momentum and just getting down to 17 and performing. I think when I had a pressure moment like that and hitting such a good shot, it's something that I'll always remember. And just to some of the people there throughout the week, my host family that had me that week, my teammates, I had friends and family fly out, and they surprised me off the 17th green. And it was a really cool moment for everyone. And to have one of my best friends too on the bag, I mean, you can't really write a better script.
Yeah.
And that USAM, I think one of the reasons I did so well, I think you alluded to it earlier, is just that confidence I had in myself. And I think that I didn't let the results dictate how confident I was in my game and in myself. I always felt like I could go out and beat everyone.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of going out and proving it. And I think that it's important for a lot of young juniors or even young professionals. Like, you have to, if you carry yourself with confidence before you have those results, then when you get in those moments, like, you're going to act with confidence.
Yeah.
Just because you kind of, I feel like you've just become a confident person. You always act with confidence, and it kind of helps you carry you through some of those nervous moments.
Yeah. That week, was there a moment when you thought, I could win this golf tournament? Or when was the moment when you thought you could win that golf tournament?
Gosh, I think that golf tournament, I think I beat, I gotta think, who did I beat there? I beat Andy Shue. Is Andy Shue in the round of 8? I think it's the round of 8. And that was one of the tougher matches I had that week, but I think I beat him on 16. And, I looked at the guys that I had left, and I had to play J.M. Butler, who's a great player, but I was like, I know J.M., and I'm pretty sure I can beat him.
That was a semifinal match?
That's our semifinal match. So, yeah, when I had Andy Shue, I was like, yeah, if I can get past J.M., like, I got a really good chance, 36 holes against anyone in the world. I don't care who it is. I feel like I would have a chance to win the golf tournament. And so I think, coming down there, beating Andy, again with my family afterwards, we're having a great week. And I'm like, man, I think I got as good a chance as anyone in this field.
Anybody that follows amateur golf knows that semifinal match is arguably the most pressure cooked scenario. Did it feel that way for you, more so even than the final? Definitely.
I feel like it was, I think we had crazy crowds out there. The people in Denver really showed up. So being I think at the time I was like 22 or 23. I was 22. And never playing on TV before like that, never playing in front of those crowds. Like, that's just nerve-wracking in itself. Yeah. And then you go from that, and then you have, the Havemeyer it's a Havemeyer. It's right there on the tee next to you, and everybody knows that you're playing for Augusta. And to make matters worse, you don't tee off till 1 p.m., so you have all day to think about it. There's a lot of nervous energy. that was really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I think at the same time, though, it helped me be successful was the fact that I trusted a lot of my practice, and I knew that JM was probably just as nervous as me. Like, we're both just two kids that are kind of thrust in the spotlight, and I knew that he was probably going to hit some loose golf shots, and I'd probably hit a couple loose golf shots, but I've hit bad golf shots before. It's okay. You can recover from them.
Yeah.
That's good.
We want to get to some leadership topics with you and talk about the 10 a little bit, because you've been a massive supporter of the 10, which we're so grateful for. But you mentioned Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
The little kid on the putting green at 12 years old at St. Clair gets to go to the Masters, not to spectate, but to play. Talk about that experience.
It's hard to, when you, I think like the Masters for me has been like the golf tournament. I think the US Open's great, but I think the Masters is like the pinnacle of golf. The history there, like Augusta National, I don't think any golf course in the world can rival what they have in history there, especially in competitive golf at least. And it's such a special atmosphere, and they make you feel so important. Even just I'm some knucklehead 23-year-old walking into the gates of Augusta National, and they're treating me as if I'm a seasoned pro. Like, they're great to us, and that 12-year-old probably wouldn't be able to believe that happened. Like, that's it's years of hard work, and it's still kind of crazy to think that I feel like it's obviously it's already hit me. It's happened a while ago now, but it's still just wild to think about where I've come from, 10 years ago, being, a lot of guys that play in the Masters and are at the top of the world, they played at, they were great junior golfers. They played at great universities, and, they were kind of on this track. And I feel like my path is a lot different. And I think that makes, the story and, some of these moments for me just that much better. And I think it's been really cool for me and my family to kind of see all of this hard work and sacrifice as well pay off.
I've never asked you this. Did you ever consider wearing a red shirt that Sunday?
If I had a red shirt, I might have worn it. I did not have a red shirt, unfortunately. But I think it would have been definitely been a thought of mine. That would have been too funny not to do it.
It just I remember that Saturday afternoon watching the scores roll in and sitting there thinking, Neal could get paired with Tiger tomorrow. This is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And there you were on Sunday in a twosome with Tiger Woods, with your best friend walking down the fairways.
My first thought was, man, I can't believe I just shot like 81 today, or whatever it was.
Best 81 of your life.
Best 81 of my life. It was great. Oh, it was awesome. Sometimes, you just get lucky like that. I remember I was really mad because I was kind of in a good spot. If I have a good third round, like I'm maybe not in contention, but like I've got a chance for top 5, top 15, something cool. And I shoot 80, and I'm like, oh, great. Like, let's go practice. Like, I'm all pissy. And then Carter walks over to me and is like, hey, like, just check my phone, and I think we might get paired with Tiger. Like, people are starting to text me about it. I'm like, there's no chance. I'm like, I go to the scoreboard and I scroll and do the math in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're getting paired with Tiger. I'm like, all right, that's it. Practice is done. Like, I'm happy now. We can just go hang out.
I promise we're not going to ask you about what he told you or what he passed you. I know there was a little media incident there. We won't bring that up. But low am at the Masters, low am at the U.S. Open, a historic summer. Well, as much as we love the USGA, I'll go out on a limb and say you should have been on the Walker Cup team, and you deserved that. But then you have your professional run these last 12 months. Yeah. I mean, just an unbelievable to watch from afar. I know you're traveling all over the place, and here we are. We got to see the social media post recently of you holding up that PGA Tour card.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think the journey has been really rapid, and it's been awesome. I mean, I don't think this happens either without a lot of the support that some of these tournament directors gave me and the opportunity they gave me to go out and play, 7 PGA Tour events last summer. And then, I've played. I'm lucky enough to have taken advantage of that opportunity. It's sometimes, you got to get a little lucky with getting some of those spots, and couldn't be more thankful that they're able to get me those. And yeah, it's kind of weird. I got Korn Ferry status from playing good on the PGA Tour, which I think it's a weird. Most people don't do it that way. Most people go the other way, and it's been a really cool way to ascend to the top. And now I'm like excited to go back and play courses I've been to already, and it's been a wild ride, and definitely wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a cool journey.
Yeah. Well, so proud of you. I mean, golf is one of the few sports that don't have a franchise tag. Yeah, if you win a few times on the PGA Tour, life gets a lot easier. But I mean, you had a full season on the Korn Ferry. There's no guarantee. I mean, you don't perform on the Korn Ferry Tour this year. There's no guarantee that the golf continues to be a career, and you earned it, man.
Yeah, it's interesting about that too. A lot of people, I don't think, understand like a lot of the categories on Korn Ferry and the reshuffle. It's wild. I only had the first 4 events guaranteed.
Yeah,
and I missed my first 2 cuts.
There's a little pressure.
So I'm going down to, for our 3rd event, I'm going down to Panama City, Panama. The next event's in Bogota, Colombia. It's like you don't speak the language, you don't know how to order food there. It's like a whole like new experience, and then you gotta go try and perform. I got lucky enough that I was able to play really well in Panama and kind of not have to stress about it in Colombia. But that was it's a pressure cooker out there on the Korn Ferry Tour. You got to earn your way every single year. It's tough.
I loved watching you make those putts with fist pumps to win those 2 events, and now on the PGA Tour. The world has got to know you as Neal the golfer, and they've been fortunate to see your personality and fun-loving way on Netflix, on commercials. Again, what we've been so proud of is the way you handle yourself and the leader that you are with the young people that are coming up in this world, and your peers, the way you interact with your peers in a highly competitive situation. And so just want to shift the conversation a little bit to leadership and what that means to you. And again, we've got this really cool audience that's joining us for the one. And Ash, we talked about it last episode, but how about just a reiterating of for the one and why that's so important for the 10?
Sure.
And why this podcast exists for our audience.
Yeah, I mean, we all share, just much like you, as part of our 10 community, this desire to impact positively every person that we come in contact with, no matter what the platform is. And thankfully for most of us, that happens to involve some form of golf. But we have this dedication that even if only one life or the trajectory of someone's life is changed, just one, it's all worth it. And, I think about everything that you just shared and how sometimes we can prepare for things and they turn out the way we want. Sometimes we can prepare and it doesn't always. And you prepared for a way on the golf course that led to all of your success. But no one really ever taught you, once you achieved that success, what it felt like to have a camera in your face or a microphone. So talk to us a little bit before we shift into the amazing example that you set on and off the course, how you kind of keep yourself grounded. You mentioned different countries, different cultures, different commercials, different expectations. How do you ground yourself when all of a sudden what you do every day is in the spotlight and it comes with a whole lot of attention that you never had before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's probably 2 things that are really easy to stay grounded to, which for me would probably be faith and family. I don't talk a lot about my faith. I'm not that type of person who I think is going to speak out about a lot on national TV,
Sure.
but it's definitely grounds me. And I think my family too. I have a great family. I've got a great girlfriend. They are more than ready to make fun of me at any moment's notice. And I think that really helps me stay grounded. And I hope that they keep putting me on blast every once in a while when I step out of line. They're not afraid to let me know, or even like moments like my side eye at Augusta. Like my brother was going through every single meme.
I've never seen that. No.
Yeah, meme Twitter account. Like everyone. He's like, look at this one. This one's hilarious. I'm like, oh, geez. But it was.
We'll edit any of those out if we.
Yeah,
do.
don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But it's. He was. It was. I think like those two parts of my life really keep me grounded when the rest of the world's so crazy and can seem like it's moving so fast around me.
Yeah. And even just a few minutes before we started, we talked about your love of math and numbers. And have you ever just thought of anything related to math while you're in the middle of a round to kind of bring you back to the moment? Or is that something you just do for fun on the side?
That's something that my caddy last summer, he would print out. We actually end up getting a notebook, and he would like staple SAT math problems into this notebook, or like really tough riddles. And so that was like kind of fun, because we were out there sometimes for 6 hours. We got, if you have, like, you come up to a drivable par 4 on the Corn Ferry Tour or PGA Tour Americas, there's a good chance there's probably about 2-3 groups on the tee, so you're gonna have a good like 20 minutes to wait. So it's nice, you can pump out a couple SAT problems and see how, and then we'd check at night and see how well I did on them and all that. It was a whole
Neal Shipley.
It was a lot of fun for us.
That's great.
Yeah. The reason we went to SAT problems though was because he was a riddle guy before, and it turns out that I am terrible at riddles and terrible at trivia. I'm not your guy for bar trivia. I got no chance.
That's good. I love that.
Hey, it's pretty cool that you might become an answer in a bar trivia question.
Listen, that's
you may
right.
already be.
That's good. That's good. So just shifting to this idea of the pressure cooker you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, that comes with media, lots of crowds being drawn to different places. How do you think that affects your decision making when you know that people are paying attention, and perhaps maybe some of the junior tournaments or the Corn Ferry, or maybe there weren't as many eyes on you in those situations previously, and now all of a sudden you find yourself maybe not hitting the shot you want, or things not going your way, or maybe even things going your way, and now all of a sudden people are paying attention. Talk to us about your thought process there.
Yeah, I've always tried to just be myself in every moment, so which I think sometimes is good and sometimes is bad. I think it helps when, especially like in front of cameras and front of media, if you're just who you are, then you don't have to put up a facade or pretend. And when you're on the PGA Tour, it's every week and every day. You can't pretend for every moment of your life. It's really important, I think, just be who you are genuinely. And I think that probably carries over, like if you are pretending at your job, it'd be pretty hard to pretend at your job 5 days a week from 9 to 5. Like it's not sustainable. And you're gonna slip up, and someone's like, "Wow, it's really unlike Chuck here to do that." So I think that's important, just being yourself. And I think although it's important to I think I'm trying to be conscious of maybe I try to say fudge instead of the other F word every once in a while now. Try to kind of.
I use sugar after a bad shot.
Yeah,
sugar.
Oh, that's it. I got to use that one. It'd be a good one.
Yeah.
So that's like little things like that. It's like trying to be maybe a little more conscious of that, because in the back of my head, I know that there might be a young person out there watching me, and I'm not a big club slammer or club thrower, and I think that's really good, because I don't think those are behaviors that a young golfer should take on. And I'd certainly think that like a guy, I think a great model for all professional golfers is Mr. Palmer. Arnold was by all means a gentleman all the time, and I think I trying to be a little bit more like him all the time.
That's great.
I think it's pretty cool. Am I correct that Cherry Hills was where the amateur was, correct? And an important piece in Mr. Palmer's story. And I think it goes without saying that Mr. Palmer would be really proud of you for the example that you're setting for young people in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of Mr. Palmer, I have some quotes I want to play a little game with the two of you.
Little
Yes.
segment. Okay.
Okay.
I said I'm not good at trivia. Now this is,
No, this is a little
easy.
different.
True or false? Right?
Yeah, basically true or false, quote or misquote. Is this a real quote from a real person, like Arnold Palmer, or is this made up with Ashley and AI?
Do we get bonus points if we tell you who said it?
Yes, because
If it
I
was
have
real?
zero
Oh, okay.
belief that either of you will know some of these.
Oh,
But
okay.
so basically, Chuck against Neal. Going to ask you both a couple, and you tell me, is it quote or fake?
Okay.
Okay. Chuck, I'll start with you. The first rule of leadership: everything is your fault.
Wow. I'm going to say that's a misquote. That's a misquote because I think that, yeah, that's a misquote. I'll just stop there.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. That's a real quote from the movie A Bug's Life.
Wow. Okay.
interesting.
Is that a citable leadership movie? That
I don't think that's a. I don't think.
Not a very leadership-driven.
No.
I'll have to go back and watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have to. But
All right, your turn, Neal.
all right.
Okay. The best leaders don't light the path for others. They hand out torches. Quote or fake?
Hand out torches. They don't light the path. They hand out torches. That sounds like too AI for me. I feel like it's AI.
See, when
Chat GPT and Ashley.
Yeah, you got the smart guy against me.
All right, one more just for fun. All right, let's see. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm.
I would say that's real.
I'm gonna go real.
That is correct. Well done. Winston Churchill.
I had a different guess in my head, but that's good.
That's good. Would you have gotten the bonus points if I asked?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I wouldn't have.
Okay.
I would have went much more present.
Yeah.
Leader. But
I mean,
that's
I'm
good.
sure someone has
I'd like to actually read a Winston Churchill book. I'm a big biography guy. So
history guy,
Yeah.
math guy, history
That's right.
guy.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, ready? Mm-hmm. You do not lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership.
I feel like you're trying to trip me up because it just sounds too. I think that's real. I think it's real.
Wow.
2-1.
Two for two. Wow.
Any guesses on who that would be?
I got no clue. No
Dwight
clue.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
Breaking
Yeah.
out the good historical figures. I like
2-1. I
Ike
kind of
was a
set you
golfer.
up for that one.
Ike
so
was a golfer.
Ike was a
Yeah.
was a very good.
Did you spend any time in the Eisenhower cabin at Augusta?
I did not.
Yeah?
No, I was in the Tennessee cabin for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
hung out there after my round. That's where they put you after you finish up your round as low amateur. They kind of take you aside, then they be like, "Hey, this is your member that is responsible for making sure you don't get lost."
That's a good
Hand-holding.
thing.
I love
So
it.
they take you. That member kind of follows you along to the media center, like everywhere you might want to go for a little bit, and then eventually they bring you back to their cabin, and you just hang out in their cabin, order some food, and hang out until the trophy, the ceremony, the
That's
Butler
awesome.
cabin
Yeah,
ceremony.
because you have a couple hours.
That's
to-
awesome.
Yeah. I was able to watch the entire last 12 or 13 holes of golf on TV. And
That's
when I
so
finished
cool.
up, Scotty was just going off. So
How did it feel knowing that the pressure for you was over and that you knew that you had become low am, and then you got to sit there and watch it?
it was cool. It was a really weird moment. Like, normally for me, from the time I was in middle school, I was glued to the Masters. I would get in trouble on Thursday and Friday from watching the coverage during class.
Yeah.
And
I got in trouble at church once by my wife for having the app up in the back of church.
well, that's
Sorry, Zach and Lauren. I
I
love you.
think it is sacred though, but what's going on on
Different level of
on the
sacred.
coverage. But no, I think like it was weird. Like I watched every Sunday, and then not being able to watch Thursday, Friday, Saturday
'Cause you were
coverage
playing.
because I was playing in
Yeah,
it. And
that's
I'm
a
like,
good excuse
it's
to
a
not watch.
Good excuse, but it's weird because I'm like, well, what happened today? And then I had to go through the highlights and watch. Normally, I'd have watched every single televised shot already.
That's awesome.
So it was
It's
pretty
interesting.
cool.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
and I do believe, and I'm sure there are some great Neal Shipley quotes that if I thought about it for a minute, I would probably think of a couple, and we certainly
That'll be in our next trivia game.
Right.
Yeah.
This time next year when you're back on the show.
That's right.
With at least a couple PGA Tour wins, we're believing for that. But we've had the opportunity to watch you lead in action. Nobody asked you to, right? And I think back. You're a member at Oakmont Country Club. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Open comes back to town this year, and that would have been a big one on your schedule, right?
Absolutely. That was probably like the beginning of the year. That was probably circled number one thing for me without a doubt.
Yeah, and certainly not to bring up a sore subject, but you came a little short. You had there was a delay in qualifying, right? You had to come back the next morning or something?
Yeah.
Sectional qualifying?
Yeah, I didn't have my best round one. Got out to a really good start in round two. I was going to need a pretty special round, but I had it going.
Yeah.
And then we got smacked with the weather delay and didn't finish up that night. And it is what it is. I didn't come out super hot that next day, and no, it's tough. It's sometimes that's how it goes. It's a 30 skill qualifier. It's
right.
It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of good players out there.
You certainly deserved to be in the field, and that's one of the beauties of the National Open is that it's truly a democratic event. You qualify or you don't, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so. Is democratic the right word for that?
It's just like a meritocracy.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
I think that's golf's meritocracy is what we're always
right.
Always
so it's open to anybody.
Yep.
You have to qualify, mm-hmm. and that was certainly a bummer. Everybody here in Pittsburgh was rooting for you. I remember being on the grounds Monday morning and practice round. I look over to the right of number 9 green, and there is a massive swarm of young people. And, I'm thinking this is a little odd because some of the superstars that are in the event, they're probably not playing early on Monday morning. They're probably easing into the week a little bit. And somebody over my shoulder said that Neal's here. And for somebody who just had a major disappointment, not qualifying for the Open, it would have been real easy for you to go down to Florida and work on your game and kind of disappear from Pittsburgh for the week. But instead you leaned in. And you showed up Monday morning, and you would know the exact amount of time, but it was at least 2 hours that you stood there and signed autographs and took pictures with kids. What was it about that event? What's inside of you that said, I'm going to show up even when I'm not playing?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to it. I think one, I had a lot of friends there. I wanted to support, help out. I was there and walking with a few people throughout the week. And, one of my roommate in college, Maxwell Moldovan, he made it for like the 5th year in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy qualifies out of Springfield, Ohio every year.
He's incredible.
And it's, I wanted to be there for him a little bit on Monday. And I think too, as an Oakmont member, I think it's important to still show up for the event, still support the event. And it's not every day that the U.S. Open rolls into town. And last time I'd been at the U.S. Open, I think was the Wednesday of 2016 or Tuesday of 2016. And then, before that, I think I'd gone to the 07 Open too as a kid, but I barely remember it. I think it was going to be a cool thing to show up. And, it was a little odd not being able to just duck under the ropes and kind of escape the crowd.
Right.
But it was pretty cool to see. And I think, while I was there, it's, you got a lot of young people, a lot of, hopefully the next great golfer out of Pittsburgh was maybe in that crowd. And, if I could just inspire them just a little bit, that's, I think that's something that it's easy enough for me to just stand there and, give him my John Hancock. It's not too hard.
Yeah. Well, I think you certainly inspired a lot of young people that week, and also inspired a lot of people that are a half a generation or a generation older than you too. That was a pretty moving event.
Yeah, I think too, just the concept of showing up as your best self, no matter what the leaderboard looked like previous, you chose to do that. And I think that means a lot to people here in our hometown, but it also means a lot to athletes all around the world, not just in golf, but that are trying to pursue something that if it doesn't work out the way you want, that doesn't mean we just go bury our head in the sand, but we actually just come back out, represent who we know we should be. And, you know, I've always appreciated, at least in the last couple of years that I've known you, that you don't just want to play golf. You want to do something really special and important with this stage that now you have and you've been given. So talk to us a little bit, if people want to know you outside of the great golf you play, what are some of the things, some of the impact that you hope to create when people hear your name?
Yeah, I think for me, I like to think back to kind of my roots and what I had when I was younger. And that was, I think I had a place like St. Clair where we had a lot of juniors, a good junior program. I had a lot of friends to play with. So, and you know, I had this terrace course so I could just go. It was pretty much the juniors and the ladies are the only ones who played it. It was a little like a 9-hole executive course at St. Clair. And so it was our little playground. I would play 9 holes out there, and then, you know, go get a milkshake at the pool, and then you play another 6 holes, and then it's kind of like a little stopping point where you can go jump to the pool again, get a milkshake, come back and play the last 3 holes and finish up for 18. And I just remember moments like that when I was a junior, and I think giving that experience to other people and, you know, supporting junior golf, because, you know, not everyone who plays junior golf is going to turn into the next PGA Tour player. You know, some of them might, hopefully, but I think more than anything, golf really instills a certain set of values, you know, integrity, honesty, you know, and also I think it also just is a great way to meet friends. Like some of my best friends in the world are some guys I grew up with playing golf when I was 10, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and we're still playing golf now, and we're probably going to be playing golf until we're 80 and 90 and can't walk no more. Yeah. So it's, I think, you know, if I could support junior golf and junior golfers in a way that could give them a place or, you know, help them find those friends and, you know, get those skills. I think that's really kind of, for me, I think a big calling of mine, you know, especially as I hopefully continue to play well and, you know, generate some momentum. You know, I'd love to, you know, get more involved in things revolving around junior golf.
So awesome. Good. I think we talked earlier about Mr. Palmer, and, you know, when I saw you at Oakmont that day, you know, I thought, you know, you're early in your professional career, but you just have this way about you that you're never going to forget where you came from, right? And we saw that in action, you know, shifting to the 10 a little bit.
Yep.
You have a busy schedule, traveling all over the world, right? A lot of pulls on your time. This is an example, again, thank you for being here. A lot of pulls on your schedule, right? We have this 2-day memorial event, and not only do you show up to it, which truly helps to legitimize our tournament, our field, our calling, right? The work that we're doing outside of golf. You've been super generous, obviously, with your time, but you've been generous with your finances early in your career. And those kids that you said that you wanted to inspire, that next generation, those student athletes that are coming up through the ranks, we watched it. You didn't even realize what you were doing probably, but we were gathering, I think this was last year, on the back porch after round 2. Again, you could have got out of there, but you hung out with the crew. And there was a young man that came off of the Terrace 9. You remember this guy? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I wish I remembered his name. I still have the picture of you two. He comes off of the Terrace 9, and he came up to you, and he was a little nervous, and he said, "Neal, I just wanted to say hi." And he said something I'll never forget. He said, "I'm trying to be the next Neal Shipley." And just what a cool testament to who you are and what you've accomplished at such a young age.
Yeah.
But that moment, it really, you know, I felt like, hey, this is an Arnold Palmer-like figure that has taken some time, and you spent a few minutes with him, and, you know, just talk about that. Obviously, big pulls on your time, but you're not shying away from investing in others.
Yeah, I think, you know, like it's, like going back to, I think, that story and that impact that maybe I had on that, that kid or young man, I think we have a pretty interesting stage as tour players. I think about the story. This is my college teammate. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's at the Wells Fargo, and there's this pro. His name's Josh Teeter. Josh is now an elder statesman on the Korn Ferry Tour. He won this year in Panama. And my buddy Quinn, he's like, yeah, one of my biggest idols when I was a kid was Josh Teeter. I thought he's the coolest guy in the world because he gave me a glove during a practice round at the Wells Fargo and spent 30 seconds to talk to me. And I think it's kind of crazy now. It's like I know Josh, and Josh is the nicest guy in the world, has 2 beautiful kids, great family. And it's like, that impact that was probably 15, 20 years ago, followed my buddy Quinn all the way through life now. And he remembers that. And so I try to think about that, how, what I do right now for some kid, like they might carry that with them and, for the rest of their life, and be like, that was really cool that Neal did that. And, Josh Teeter, not a lot of guys know Josh Teeter, but Quinn is Josh Teeter's probably #1 fan.
That's awesome.
So cool.
For life. So I try to keep that in mind. And, I think too, with, giving time, as you mentioned earlier, it's, I think, it's really easy to blow things off. And, when things are important, and not only important, but it's low hanging fruit for me to come out to St. Clair Country Club and play 2 rounds of golf and go to a couple of after parties at Wag's house and have a lot of fun. Like it's a good time, and it's something I want to be a part of the 10, and I want to be part of things like that are supporting junior golf. And I think it's really easy to give your time to something when you are truly enjoying what you're doing and you're doing it for a good cause that you believe in.
It's awesome.
Great.
You certainly are a part of the 10, a big part of the 10. And it was cool. You got to bring your dad to one of the after parties this year. That was fun to hang out with Mr. Shipley.
It's cool to bring him in there because he doesn't play golf, which is, I think, odd. Usually, your dad introduces you to golf. And I think in this case, I think my running joke, at least our running joke with St. Clair, is that I have the lowest handicap. My dad has the highest handicap. We have the entire club bracketed.
Amazing. Amazing.
So that's our little running joke at St. Clair. So
yeah, that's the beauty of the game of golf, though. Yeah. It's a community of people who help each other, lift each other up. We talk all the time about the people in your life that took you to the golf course, put your arm around you, told you how important it could be if you stick to the game, the honorable thing to do, as Tim and Diane say. So I think if you can find that community in or outside of golf, but specifically with golf, you hang on to that. And there are people who are always a few steps ahead of you, leading you. I mean, you just mentioned that about your friend.
Yeah. Well, I think something interesting, I think I got a shout out here. You know Grant Angle.
Of course.
So Grant, when I was growing up at St. Clair, I think he won the state championship in high school, went to Ohio U.
Go Bobcats.
He's a good little high school player. And when he was doing all that, I think I was in 7th or 8th grade. And so that was the guy that, I want to beat that guy, and I want to be better than him. I want to try.
You are, but Grant, love you, but you're definitely better.
So
you would say that too.
But it was like when I was in, I think Grant probably had no idea of what was going on, but in a way, I think you talk about leadership, and it's like, kind of watching him and how he played golf, and whenever we played together, he was always great to me and super nice to me, and it's like just those little things. I don't think he realized how much it meant to me when I was, in 7th or 6th grade playing with him when he was a, senior in high school who had won the state championship, and I was like, this guy's it. And I think it, just little things like that. It's like, the impact you can have on someone. You might not know it, especially when you're in someone like a position like me or how Grant was when he was in high school. But how you act in that, how you act really, I think helps. Might shape someone else and how they, continue to move through golf for their career.
It's good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it's cool. We were talking earlier about what it really means to be a leader. Yeah. And some people assume it's, when I become famous at something, or when I have a job title, or, the things line up perfectly for me to be in charge of something, or have the strongest personality, or be the best at something. And truly, we believe as a 10 Memorial community that you can lead from right where you are at any moment without waiting for the title, without waiting for the success. We all have something to give to someone around us, and choosing to do that is so cool among a shared value, everybody here. I mean, obviously you were doing that before you were in the spotlight, and that's part of why people like you deserve the spotlight. And we're just really proud to get to share in that with you. So thanks for being a leader both on and off the course in our Western Pennsylvania community. Of
course, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think leadership, you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be a leader. And I've never been a big person who's outspoken or, is going to step up in a room and, really like get all the troops rah-rahed up. I was never that in college, but, when I was in college, I was probably the guy who was at the facility early. I was there late. When we were in workouts, I wasn't the person screaming at other guys, like, to get them all riled up. I was the dude that was, just really focused in on what my job was. And I think, you can, that's just, I think, some small examples of being a leader without, having to be outspoken or be, be in a position of power, as by no means a
just
team
consistency.
Captain. Just consistency and setting a good example for those around you.
So good.
I got a couple quick questions for you. One being, certainly growing up, you knew a lot of people. Western PA, obviously you're on the junior golf scene. Golf has this amazing ability of bringing people together, and it gives us community instantly, right? And then when you go away to school, you start building a new community. And so in Western PA, a lot of people have known you for a long time now, but now my guess is you could pop into any airport throughout the country, and you probably have people coming up to you saying, "Hey, you're Neal Shipley," right? Or asking for a picture and an autograph. What's it like to be known like that, right? I mean, that happened quick.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
I remember my first time really getting recognized. I think that there's two little good tidbits. I think we were coming back from Augusta. I was driving from Augusta to Atlanta. I flew out of Atlanta, and we stopped at some Chick-fil-A in the middle of nowhere for, I think, lunch or breakfast. And I'm sitting down, gnawing down on my chicken sandwich. I have, my brother, girlfriend, we're just hanging out, and someone pops over and is like, "Hey, Neal, like, great playing last week." And I'm like, "Thanks." I'm like, whoa, like what? Just
eating my Chick-fil-A.
I'm just eating my Chick-fil-A, pigging out, and I probably got 2 milkshakes, and this dude's like, "Oh, this is Neal Shipley. Oh my gosh!" And then I went back to, got recognized a couple times in the airport, but then I got back to Columbus at that evening, and I wanted to take all my teammates out for a dinner. So I took them out to this great spot in Columbus, Roosters.
Nice.
It's a good wing spot. And we're sitting down, and my teammate says, "Neal, like, somebody just tweeted about you." And I'm like, "Oh, it's like a meme or something." Like, no, like they said, like, Neal Shipley spotted at Roosters with taking his teammates out for dinner. What a guy. And I'm like, I'm like, that's weird. It was in the moment. I'm like, that is crazy. I'm at Roosters right now, and someone's tweeting about it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. You're living a public life now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, that's kind of when it hit me, but it was, it's been, I think it's weird, but now I've gotten a lot more used to it. And I think I try to, a lot of people, usually when people come up for pictures, just really, always really nice people, pretty cool, and just try to give them, be my best self possible, even if I'm having the worst day ever.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, I think too. There's a line between all of that and like just healthy accountability, right? Yeah. Like, oh, someone's watching me, like a little nervous pressure, but then also like, oh, someone's watching me. Yeah, that's kind of what that mentality or lens of leadership looks like. Like, oh, okay, there's people watching me.
Yeah,
just an awareness.
Just it's something like I'm aware of it. Like I'm not gonna start being on the phone and start MFing somebody.
Right.
Just because I'm like that might not go well. If it goes on Twitter, there's all these things that happen to go on Twitter and Instagram. Everyone has phones, and that's a little scary nowadays. But it's certainly like just for me, I just feel like I just need to be myself.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. Be you.
Ash, we were talking about it even earlier today about talk just for a second about the concept of being a leader from a young age, or identifying as a leader as a young age, and what that does to somebody's accountability, their personal accountability.
Yeah, I think just the heart behind the junior tournament at the 10 and this idea of raising next generation leaders, specifically through the game of golf, the thought process of what we all were doing when we finally realized that somebody was paying attention. What if we had one of our junior athletes at 12 years old or 14 years old or 16 years old having that moment a little bit earlier where, wow, like people are watching, and maybe not waiting until they're graduating high school or graduating college or getting a big career somewhere. They have that moment early on. And I guess the conversation we were having earlier is, if we don't think that way early on in our lives, then it's a two-way street. First of all, we may not recognize that someone's pouring into us. Like, we can't take from the people that are supposed to be shaping who we are if we're not understanding leadership at a young age. But then on the flip side, we all have something to give. Right. So then maybe we're depriving the people around us of giving them what we have to offer. So we were just talking a little bit about if we could get the younger next generation of leaders thinking that way early on, what might the future look like for businesses, for inventions, for the game of golf, for other professional athletes? Like, it's an amazing concept to think, what if we all just started thinking like that a little bit earlier in life? So good.
Yeah. I think it's something too. It's regardless of where you end up, it'd take you a long ways. Like, it's being, just I think you mentioned as a leader, you just need to be kind of conscious, like, hey, people are watching, and you set the example and you set the tone. Yeah. And you do that with not only how you like the product you put out, whether that's work, golf, whatever it is. It's also with the way you do put out that product.
That's good. Yeah. Awesome. Last question that I have for you is, on the days that things maybe aren't going your best, what's it look like for you to lean into people who build you back up? Who do you talk to? Who are the people that you call or text? Or what video do you watch or voicemail do you listen to? Like, how do you build yourself back up on maybe the days that you need it the most?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I think there's a couple things I've done. I've certainly called my swing coach. Like, he's been someone, I've been with him since I was 12. He knows me as good as anyone else. I could always lean on my parents, girlfriend, brother, sister. I think what's also funny too is, like, when we're talking about more in golf specific, like, I'm having a tough time with this or that, just going and watching some highlights of when I was playing good and just kind of getting those good vibes back. I think, right before I won at LECOM in Sarasota, Florida, we missed a cut in Savannah. I missed the cut in Savannah. And so I had a pretty rough start to the year. I missed a lot of cuts, had like 2 good finishes, and I was in a good spot, but I'm like, man, I need to be more consistent. And we get to our Airbnb, I think on Wednesday night. I'm staying with my caddy. And I'm like, Greg, let's just pull up the Masters Sunday, the stream, or just me and Tiger for 13 holes. Let's just watch that. So we went and popped that on. We watched it. I got to tell a bunch of stories to Greg, who hadn't heard about all the little intricacies and things that had happened throughout the entire walk with Tiger.
The note passing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what the note actually said. So we it was cool. It got to kind of like relive some of those, moments, and just gave me some good vibes. Yeah. And I think even too, when I went to Colorado, I went and played Cherry Hills the day before I went to Colorado, and I was able to go and kind of play all those holes, remember shots from different tournaments, and then, try and recreate the shot on 17. It was really cool to, I think relive those moments, and I went on to win that next tournament. It's, I think having the good vibes and seeing, whether that's, good swings or, good moments, it helps, I think, with trying to get back on track. And, for juniors and young people out there, you might not be on TV. I'm lucky that I have these little highlight reels that I can just turn into YouTube. I think, if you journal about some of the good golf shots you have or good moments, and you can turn to those, that's something that's a pretty valuable tool. And I can't take credit for that idea. That's Bob Rotella there from his book. I think it's a great way to go about it.
So good.
I got, do we have time for a rapid fire?
Sure, go.
10 quick questions, rapid fire.
All
Ready?
right. Mm-hmm.
Favorite golfer?
Tiger Woods.
Dream foursome?
Tiger, Jack, and Palmer.
That's good.
Good foursome.
Favorite club in your bag?
Putter's always your favorite club in the bag.
You made some big putts this year.
It's got to be, even if it's not working, it's got to be your favorite club.
That's so
This
good.
is a tough one because there's a lot of people watching that are expecting certain answers. Favorite golf course?
That's so tough. I personally think Oakmont is one of the coolest places and the best place. I wouldn't want to be a member anywhere else. If you could take away all my club memberships, I'd just keep Oakmont. So I got to go with that one. That's probably number one for me. It always has been.
That's a good answer. Favorite band or musician?
Ooh, gosh. Band or musician? That's really tough. I mean, Zach Bryan, I listen to a lot of country music. It's kind of my guy.
Love it.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? Green Lights. That's Matthew McConaughey's book. Great book.
Cool. A leader. How about a leader that you look up to right now?
A leader that I look up to right now. I think back to college and some of the coaches I had, and I think all three head coaches. I really look up to all three of those guys. I think they did a great job with all of us, and all had their own strengths. And I think it was very unique where all these head coaches, they knew what they were good at, and then they surrounded themselves with people that kind of were better at them at certain things. So I think that was unique. I think like a great leader knows their weaknesses and builds their teams to help fill some of those gaps. And so I think all three of those coaches, my coaches in college, did that, and we're really good at getting us ready to go play some golf.
Awesome. Tournament you're most looking forward to this coming year?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, well, I'm gonna just go out and say I'm really looking forward to playing the Masters because I think I'm gonna get back into it.
There we go. There's some confidence.
I'm outside the top 50, but if I can go out and have a solid start to the year, I think I got a chance to sneak my way in and get into the tournament.
Awesome. Favorite sports team?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Great answer. And if we weren't a professional golfer, what job, what career would you choose other than professional golf?
Ooh, what job other than professional golf? Yeah, if you asked me 4 years ago, I might have said investment banking, but my girlfriend works in finance and banking, and I just no shot I could do that. I'd probably be in coaching. I really enjoy. I think it'd be very fulfilling watching others succeed and being a part of that. And I've always enjoyed helping out others when I can. And so I think that's something I would have a passion for.
Awesome. So good. Well, thank you so much for sharing some time with us always, not just for the first time this year, but the third time this year. And there is no other group of people that's cheering on all things Neal Shipley more than Western Pennsylvania, obviously your family, the 10 community, and now the whole world. So we truly appreciate this time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Neal. Proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you guys thinking of me and having me on.
Yeah. Let's run this back this time next year with some PGA Tour trophies.
That's right.
I'd be in.
Take a quick moment to like and share all things Neal Shipley and join us next time on For the One for all things leadership.